Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? All in 100 HPK 78 coming to you with another video, and today we're going to be talking about surviving your first food fight. Now, I know a lot of people already gone, like, surviving your first food fight, who would want to know that? But you know, under any circumstances, it can happen, and you never know, but you always got to remember to stay prepared, and you got to remember all these tips that I'm about to say. Tip number one, you always notice if there's about to be a food fight. First off, if you see people, like, I don't know if it's gonna make like enough sense or not, but if you see people gathering a lot of food or like a group of people like have their trays all together, or to say like a group of people in one area just talking, is associating. And another thing, if something's about to go down, if you see people, like if your cafeteria has a vending machine, if you see people going to the vending machine and buying a whole lot of snacks. Okay, so I have my own experience of going through a food fight. All right, so my little story is when I was back in elementary school, there was this lady. I forgot what her name was, but we'll call her Miss Ross. All right, so Miss Ross, she was going to the vending machine to get her soda, and when she was getting the soda, all of a sudden she got hit with a fork that was covered up in a napkin. And when she did that, she threw it back, and surprisingly, they threw something back. So then Miss Ross, she had went on about her business, like, oh, I'm not gonna stunt this nonsense and all this stuff. And she continued on her day, drunk her soda and all this stuff. So then later on, some kids saw what happened, that little incident happened between her and then the little throwing of the forks and throwing something back. So then the kids thought it would be funny to start throwing things too, like, oh yeah, that seems really fun. Let's do that too. So then everybody just started throwing apple juice, milk, canned sodas, milk cartons, trays. I'm talking about it was all out madness. And I'm sorry what I just said. I meant to say I am talking about. But anyways, to get back on topic, sorry about that, you guys. It was all out madness. And I'm talking about people all over the place screaming, yelling, saying take that, throwing spaghetti, pizza, pepperoni pieces. It was crazy. So let me tell you the number one thing to do right now. This is the number one thing to do to survive one of these. First off, you either get under the table or if you have your book bag or something with you, take that, put that over your head. I'm talking about put it like directly over your head and kneel down and run towards the nearest exit of the cafeteria. Or the next thing you could do is just run for dear life. Just drop everything and just run for dear life. And just hope something. I just hope you find something there on the way. But that was my little story. Honestly, what I did was I didn't really participate in it. Someone that threw like a apple slice at me. Excuse me. Someone that threw an apple slice at me. So what I did in return was I threw a milk carton. But it was empty. So it wasn't like it was gonna hurt them in any sorts of way because milk cartons. Well, at least in my school, they were like small. I don't know how many ounces they were. I know they were small though, and they were very light. Well, once you got done drinking them, they were very light. And that's my little experience. If you guys like to share some of you guys' experiences, about food fights or any type of thing related to food fights. Even if it was about to be a food fight, you guys can share that in the comments below if you want to. Back on the topic. Another thing, well, I'll say tip number two is always remember if you see if you see people, I'm talking about a lot of people. It might sound similar to like tip one, but it's not. If you see like a whole lot of people, they're just talking and talking and talking, and then you notice all of a sudden, they start, like they start accumulating stuff. Like I said, going to the vending machine, they start accumulating it and putting it in one pile. Then excuse me right there. And then you notice once they start accumulating it, they start to plan out. All right, well, so it'll be like sort of like a huge huddle, like a football huddle, I guess. And they'll just be planning out. All right, so what we're gonna do? All right, but it won't look like a huddle. They'll just all be like, talking. You know how it be like, like inside the cafeteria. You know how people just talk, associate and all that stuff, and talk about random things. Well, not random things, but these things in general. And then they would just talk like that. It won't seem like it's a huddle or anything because it'll just be like a group of friends like any other time in the lunchroom on a long table just talking. Tip number three is you always have to keep your heads up. Anything can happen. The number one thing with surviving a food fight is not to get hit. And if you're as nimble and as flexible and I guess as sensing things as Spider-Man, I suggest you just do your best. And before the first thing flies, I don't care if it was just something by accident. I don't even care if it was something, like it wasn't even because of a food fight, something that's accidentally went inside the air. I would suggest you either prepare. Excuse me about that, you guys. I'm a little sick. I just sort of got over a cold. I would suggest, even if it was, like just by accident, I would suggest you get prepared or you keep your eye out because that is the number one thing. You have to make sure you keep your eye out at one time. I'm sorry, not one time, at all times. And once you do that, you should have a pretty good, decent chance of surviving your first food fight. And another thing I just want to say, if you guys didn't catch my last video, I just want to say thank you guys for all the support. I'm reaching 60 subscribers. Well, no, I think it's 64 now. I really appreciate you guys. I'm sorry. I really appreciate that, you guys. I've really been trying to work hard. Well, I almost haven't been working hard lately because I've been slacking off. But now I want to start working hard and continue to work hard to bring out these videos and all these nice things. And the holidays are coming around, so excuse me, guys. I hope you guys have a nice. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. I hope you guys have a nice holiday. And again, this is Alan Austin 100 SPX Lemonade signing out. And oh yeah, and another thing I want to say, going back to the food fight, that's a reason I came up with this story because you know a lot of people they have nice clothes like for example they may have a nice sweater they like for like I really like sweaters I'm pretty sure everybody knows their grandma. Like, for example, I'm not saying this is actually real, but like as an example, someone may wear to school one day, a sweater that grandma had knitted from them, that their grandma had knitted from them, and then their grandma says, "No, oh hey man, excuse me, hey man, whatever you do, make sure you try to keep this clean as possible. It's gonna be real hard to try to clean this. You're gonna possibly have to do it by hand, so be very careful and be very conscious on what you do with it." And you go like, okay, so you go to school, and the next thing you know, there's a food fight in the cafeteria, and the next thing you know, because you weren't as prepared as you thought you were gonna be, because you weren't paying attention to your surroundings, you ended up getting splattered with food. And when you go home, your grandma's like, "Oh man, well, hey, looks like you gotta clean it down." And then you got to spend possibly about, well, not that long, possibly about 5, 10, 15 minutes cleaning it. And I know that's not really that big of a deal, but to some people, when they get their shoes dirty, especially if it's like some all white shoes, like some all white Converse, or just some all white shoes in general, especially people wearing sandals, you know, well, I won't say people, girls wearing sandals, open-toed shoes, and things of that sorts. But anyways, this is all extra I just want to say. Sorry about that little stutter right there. I still have a little stuttering problem, but I'm trying to overcome it by speaking very fluently. But anyways, you guys, this is Alan Awesome 100 XP Lemonade coming to you with another video, and I'm out. Peace.